Hello, Waswere here, back with another video, and today we're going to be talking about the Time Warp ability. This is a unique mechanic to Kerepac, and it's really important for getting the quickest kills and the most consistent kills possible at Kerepac hard mode. All I gotta say is it's freaking awesome and makes for a lot of fun combos at Kerepac. How it works is that when you activate the ability, the game takes note of your HP, prayer, adrenaline, position, and ability cooldowns. Then 10 seconds later, it gives you all of those things back to the state it was 10 seconds ago. So if you were 10k HP when it's activated and you're 4k HP now, you'll go back to 10k HP. But that also works in the inverse. If you're low HP when you activate it, you will be low HP when it fires you back in time. So you gotta be careful with what your HP, what your prayer is when you activate it. I'm going to be going over many uses of the ability, but I wanted to start with the main use you're going to see of it, and it's for DPS dumping. You'll use this on P2, P3, and P4, so it's a very important part, and yeah, let's get into it. I decided to start with the Phase 4 Time Warp because it's the most pure one where dealing with the mechanics gets less in the way. I teleport into my clone and move over to a point where my death swiftness is in range of 2 of the clones. At this point I can click the Time Warp, and it's very important that you Time Warp first before death swiftnessing, as otherwise the game won't think you have very high adrenaline. Once I death swiftness, I use the following 4 abilities: Needle Strike, Greater Ricochet, Limitless Snapshot, and Rapid Fire. I haven't been able to get a 5th ability in before being wound back, so I just stick to those main 4. At that point, you'll be shot back in time, giving you 110% adrenaline again, and your rapid fire will continue. With 110% adrenaline, you can finish off the clone and move on to the next one. For Phase 2 and 3, the concept is pretty similar, but the most important thing is that you want to make sure you are rapid firing under Kerepac when he shoots out his time clouds. By standing under him, you skip the mechanic, which helps you focus damage on Kerepac. You don't have to deal with dealing the 15k to the time cloud. Once I started skipping it, I noticed my kill times drop by 1 minute. Because we need to be under him, we need to make sure that the teleporting of the Time Warp doesn't happen as he's doing the mechanic, so we need to time it properly. For Phase 2, if you activate the Time Warp as soon as you get access to it, it will teleport you out at the wrong time, making it very hard to skip the mechanic. So what I do to make sure is that I wait for 2 autos, then Time Warp into a Death Swiftness. From there, I can use 1 basic and then Limitless Snapshot into a Rapid Fire while running under him. If you don't have 30% adrenaline when running under him, just Limitless Rapid Fire. Eventually, you'll get teleported back into your DS with full adrenaline and all your ability cooldowns back to DPS away. On Phase 3, however, if you activate the ability during the phase transition, there's enough time to get the Time Warp done before the Time Cloud special attack. So activate Death Swiftness, do the same 4 abilities like Phase 4 in the first example of Needle Strike, Greater Ricochet, Snapshot, Rapid Fire, and once you teleport out, let your Rapid Fire finish. Once your Rapid Fire finishes, use Rapid Fire again as the cooldown has been reset, and run under him to skip the mechanic. So that's the main DPS dump Time Warps, but there's a lot more to this than just DPS. Next up, we have a fairly niche one, and that's Cade into Death Swiftness. The Phase 3 Storm of Armadyl special attack is really hard to deal with without taking a ton of damage, as there's often 3 lines intersecting and it's a lot of Surge Blade diving around. So I opt to use Barricade with the T90 shield to block all damage for 18 seconds. This is normally not used as adrenaline cost is too much for the damage reduction you get, but with Time Warp we can turn that adrenaline cost to 0. When he's spawning lightning, stand right in the middle, click the Time Warp, and Barricade. In 10 seconds you will get back your adrenaline, and you can plop down a Death Swiftness and do a DPS rotation. The only thing to note is that if you're close to phasing like I am into Phase 4, the Death Swiftness will still be on cooldown as it wasn't reset by Time Warp. And you really don't want that. So you can turn it into a threshold rotation once you get adrenaline back if HP is low. Also, feel free to use your thresholds under Barricade. While you only have a main hand weapon equipped, it's still damage and the cooldowns of those abilities will get reset anyways. Phase 4 gives ample opportunity to use various combos with the Time Warp ability, and the next one we're going to talk about is the Devotion one. I use Devotion with Time Warp on the second clone on every single P4 I do now when I'm solo. I surge over to the intersection point of the 2 remaining clones, as I've already killed the north clone with the first time warp, and from there I wait for time warp to come off cooldown and activate it into a devotion. Because I've already lowered the HP of the second clone, I can finish it off to extend my devotion to 15 seconds. This is key because it means that devotion lasts longer than the time warp. So when I teleport back, I don't accidentally take some unexpected damage at very low HP and die. Once you teleport back, take a gauge of your surroundings and decide if you want to use the second use of devotion at this point, as the cooldown has been reset. In this clip, I elected not to, as I had enough food and got a big resonance, and used devotion later in the fight to extend it again when I killed the third clone. If you're ever in a position where you feel overwhelmed with what's attacking you or how much damage you're taking, or if you made a mistake, you can always build up to 100% adrenaline and time warp into a barricade. This gives you 18 seconds to figure out what the hell to do next, and you'll get your adren back anyway. I found this invaluable when I make a mistake and or was taking too much damage. It gives me an extra moment or two to make the correct decision without massive stakes at that point. This ability brings back the utility of defensive abilities like Barricade and Immortality in this PvM encounter. And then the very last time warp we're going to talk about is the finisher. This is much like the other DPS ones, except for this time you're also going to throw in a devotion so you don't die from the constant 4k hits from Kerepac. In this clip, Kerepac's HP is low, so Death Swiftness has very little benefit. I devotion into a Greater Ricochet, Dark Bow, and Snapshot. Once the 10 seconds are up, I can do the exact same thing again as the cooldowns are all reset. If Kerepac were higher HP, I probably would have Death Swiftness on the first set to help the damage on the second set of abilities. All in all, I think this ability is a ton of fun to use and figure out. It's one of those things you just have to play around with, and eventually you get a feel for how to best use it. It took me till this morning, the third day, to really understand it. As a whole, I really like this boss and have loved it enough that I already have over 100 solos and 300 total kills in hard mode, and that's why there hasn't been a video yet. Look forward to a boss man video coming soon. If you want to stay up to date with when I upload videos, hit that subscribe button. If you like the video, might as well hit the like button on the video. But past that, have a good day, and I'll catch you in the next one.